On today's episode, we're talking crows, the bird that is. We're going to go over a book that tells you all about how one bird can actually bring you back to the nature around you. Let me explain. Welcome back, everybody. Today we are reviewing Crow Planet Essential Wisdom from the Urban Wilderness by Leonda Lynn Haupt. Published in 2009, it is a book that kind of teaches you more about your surroundings than strictly just about birds. If you guys watched last time, we talked about the Turning to the Birds by Lily Taylor, where that book was about her learning to be a birder on the side of being an actress and learning how basically watching birds gave her a new outlook on
Mhm.
her personal life. So this is kind of another similar here. So let me give you a little background. Leonda is a wildlife researcher and urban naturalist based in Seattle. After going through a little bit of a rough patch, she looked out her window one day and spotted an injured crow chick. And since then, she kind of got into the whole study of them. She learned what it was to nurse it back to health. She learned what it was to, you know, be one with the crow, basically.
Be one with
And
the crow.
it was also said that this, for people alive today, crows are actually more of an animal you would see compared to anything else in the world. Over deer, over hawks, over coyotes, crows. Yeah, and
I
you were
I
telling
I
me
was
earlier.
saying you earlier, I mean, literally, you go outside in our backyard, and there are crows everywhere, everywhere.
So crows are basically our last touching point to the natural world, in a sense. So it's part natural history, part memoir, part philosophy. It covers crow intelligence, which, if anybody has studied, they are one of the smartest birds that are out there.
How do they
They
know
can
that? How do they know that a bird is
So
smart?
they've done a lot of research with domestic crows and reserves, with solving puzzles, with doing
Wow,
various tasks. I remember when I volunteered at the LA Zoo, they had a crow that actually learned recycle versus trash, and it would give them like a plastic bottle, and it would know to go to the recycle bin. It would
wow,
give them a candy bar wrapper. It would know that it goes to the garbage. So it was just little things like
that's
that
cool.
they learned
Yeah.
that they can figure out just as easily as anything else. They'll recognize people. They'll hold grudges against people and other crows. They even hold crow funerals for their families. So they literally actually do this whole,
That's
it's a
cool,
whole
actually.
society
It's a
within
whole
crow
ecosystem.
living.
It's a whole ecosystem.
It is, it is. So basically, the question the book asks is, what does it mean to live on a wild planet when you're surrounded by concrete? Because as we
Concrete
know,
jungles.
crows live within our range, so they're used to fake
Right. Concrete
material, right?
jungle. Concrete jungle.
So I'll ask you this, and I think you already answered it, but when was the last time you actually stopped and saw an animal in your backyard or in your
Yeah.
street and really actually like watched it?
We do. I mean, we sit outside every single day. We have bird feeders in our backyard. We have hummingbird feeders, and they come. They know we're going to feed them, so Dad's constantly filling the feeders. And we have a lot of wild birds, and we have some doves, and we have crows and ravens. And I think there's a difference between the wingspan or something. I'm not exactly sure, but
Yeah.
something of that nature. But the crows are there, and you are right. They have personalities. They have absolute personalities. Sometimes they're very kind and gentle with each other, and sometimes they come swooping down, and everybody goes scattering. It's fun to watch.
Well, no, it is, and I think the question of it, because a lot of people think of them as pests, but I think if you actually watch them and
Yeah.
you interact and you see them, you'll find that they're actually more kind of like a dog or a cat. They're
Yeah.
very personable. They're very intelligent. So when you go see a crow, admire it, watch it. Don't get
Yeah.
too close, but watch it from a good. So why is this book worth reading? So it's not a lecture. It's not her teaching you just about ecology or nature.
Mhm.
It's more of her awe of these birds, giving you that awe as well. She talks a lot about the crow mythology. And if you guys are familiar with Native American mythology and stuff like that, the crow plays an integral role in many of the stories, whether it's the creation story, whether it's the trickster gods, whether it's a teaching moment. I know Aesop's fables use a lot of crows as well. Um, but the crow goes all the way back through various history,
And
all the
also
way to
Rob, Edward Poe. Didn't he do it?
Edgar Allan Poe with the Raven.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Norse mythology, Odin, the god, the main god, had two pet ravens that he used. So she really goes deep into the meaning of the crow,
Hmm.
passing it just as an animal and turning it into a symbol, basically. It's a very fun book. It's not a book everyone's going to want to read. It's nonfiction. I understand that. But it's definitely a book that if you are a nature person or you are a cultural reader.
Curious,
It's
just
fun.
curious,
It's
right?
fun
Yeah.
read too. So the question I have for you then, has a book like this type of idea ever changed a view you had on something that maybe just you bypassed because it didn't seem important? You kind of ignored it because it was just there.
I don't know how to answer that because I don't read a lot of these kind of books. So,
You
but
left it
but
to
I
the
will
people
tell you,
watching.
Rob, I will tell you though, is that whenever we do shows like this, and it reminds me that nature is out there, and we should be watching the animals, and we do with all we do. We watch them. It's part of our fun. Our Christopher, our dog, watches them. In fact, he doesn't chase them. He sits there and studies them, which I find fascinating. Um, I find it really fascinating. I don't know what's in his little head looking at the birds. He doesn't chase them, which is kind of weird, right? He literally does not like chase them around. They walk and they're not afraid of him and he's not afraid of them and they live symbiotically, literally in the backyard, which is kind of cool.
Well, like you just said, it also reminds me that there's nature everywhere, and that, when you think about it, it's just nature is still around. You just have to stop for a minute and take a look.
Yeah.
So, honest review. I believe, my thoughts on the book, very grounded, very easy to read. Um, it is specifically to where she is in, Seattle. So it's kind of like it might not be as understandable for someone who's not familiar with the area because it's very specific. However, I've known that a lot of people will write this way, where they write about where they live, but you have to kind of take that out of the equation and go, "Okay, well, we may not have the same thing,
Right.
but we can do the same thing." So
Correct.
that might be the only little bit that might be confusing. But anyone who loves, like I said, nature writing, anyone who wants to learn deeper about something like this, I'd give it like a good 4 out of 5 um, for it. But like I said, I mean, I'm biased. I read this stuff all the time. I did what? I did the dog one. I did the owl one. I did a bunch of other ones. So I might just like this stuff anyway. But
You have
I
books like
definitely
this?
think
Do you have books like this in the bookstore?
we do have, I think, a couple nature books. We even have a memoir about a library cat as well too. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
we
That's
do have a
cool.
couple of cool books. So
So
yeah,
go check it out. Go to the bookstore, next chapter bookstore.shop. Check that out and everything else, all the cool books that are in there. We enjoy having you on the show with us every single week. Tell us what you'd like us to talk about. Do you have a favorite book, a favorite animal book for that matter? Tell us what you want us to talk about. Rob is not that Rob has a shortage of ideas. That's for sure. But if you have something you want us to talk about, let us know. And as Rob always likes to say at the very ending of our show.
go read a book.